Hi again guys, I'm back with another unboxing. This one's come from cubes.com. It's taken a couple of weeks to arrive, but not too long. But it was a pre-order anyway, so it's not too bad. Very interested to see, especially one in particular. There's two puzzles in this. One in particular is especially exciting. Assuming I've got the right box, of course. I have indeed. So let's grab the first one out of there. Yeah, I said that because I'm actually waiting for a few packages at the moment, so I wasn't entirely certain which one this one was. So, okay, you probably see on the box what this is. It's the Moyan, or the Evil Eye Cube. Now I've got the version 1 of this, which is this paper falling off. The closed eye version. Now, I mistakenly thought the open eye version was easier, excuse me, which is why I didn't buy this one originally. I made the mistake of thinking these circles were actually centres that were going to be a guide to the colour scheme, but it's nothing of the sort. They can be scrambled just as much as any other part of the puzzle, and it actually makes it more difficult. Now, I've known that for quite some time, but I never got around to ordering the second one of the series until just now. I was ordering another puzzle, as you'll see later from this box, and I thought, well, I'll get one of these at the same time. They got it cheap at cubes.com. It's $16, I think, so it's not expensive. So yeah, I thought it was about time I had one. It's kind of like a cross cube, if you've seen the original, the other one I have, or other people's videos. So you've got a kind of baby face on each side that turns independently, and then you've got 3 layers across the middle that can turn as well. It's the shape of a rhombic dodecahedron, and yeah, apparently these open eyes, the little circles, the dots in the centre, actually work like edges, so, and can get kind of parity problems and things. So I'm curious to see what this one's like to solve. I didn't find the other one too difficult, but then I had a lot of experience with cross cubes and things before that, so it was it didn't add a huge amount of new challenges to the solve. The most difficult part was figuring out the colour scheme, because I deliberately didn't memorise it, as I deliberately haven't again. So I'll have to use the actual colours of the pieces to figure out what needs to go where, which will be interesting, because you probably want to solve the eye pieces first, but since I've got no idea what the colour scheme is, I have no idea how to solve those first. I have no idea where they need to be in relation to each other, so yeah, it's going to be interesting. The turning quality is okay. It's very similar to the closed eye version. It feels a bit kind of cheap and lightweight, this puzzle. The pieces are hollow. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but all the pieces are quite hollow, so you get a little bit of catching and things, and you can see right down into the centre of the puzzle, so none of the pieces are really capped to anything. So that does cause a little bit of catching. It makes it feel a little bit kind of cheap and flimsy, but it turns fine most of the time. You just have to make sure things are lined up fairly well, because you haven't really got anything in the way of corner cutting on it. And you get that quite a bit. You try and turn one face, and because there's an angled surface that your thumbs are pressing on, you end up turning that by accident instead. But yeah, I think we'll call that scrambled. I'll go away, give it a solve, and I'll get back to you when I've done it. Hi again guys, so as you can see, the Moyu Evil Eye Open Eye version, I think this version 2, is now solved again. I was definitely wrong about this one. As I said earlier, I thought the closed eye version was more difficult, because I imagined these were kind of centres and gave you a specific place where you needed to put the colours, but yeah, boy was I completely wrong about that one. So I'm glad I read that on the forums and decided to get one of these, because this one was definitely more challenging than the closed eye version, and a lot of fun. It wasn't horrendously difficult. I suppose it took me about an hour of solid trying to do this in the end, but I did it over a couple of different sessions. But yeah, there's definitely problems that occur with this that you don't get. You got a parity issue with these dot things that took me a little while to sort of like understand. Not hours and hours or anything, but it took me a little bit of thinking about to figure out exactly what was going on. Turning quality of this is much like the closed eyes version. In fact it's identical. Feels very light and flimsy. That's because all these pieces are completely hollow, and as you can probably see there, you can see right into the centre of the puzzle. So it feels a bit flimsy, and it's quite catchy as well. But as long as you're a bit careful with the alignment, it's not too bad. The actual turns themselves are absolutely fine. It's just that because there's so many uncapped pieces together, you do get a bit of catchiness, and unless things are aligned quite well, so you do have to be a little bit careful with making sure things are aligned properly. But other than that, it's absolutely fine. You can see that my pink side here has one sticker that's peeling, but that's actually my fault. I've been carrying it around in my rucksack that I take to work for a couple of weeks now. Never quite got around to solving this one. I really should use cube bags, and I berate myself for that regularly, and then still never do, because as I'm rushing out to work in the morning, I could just grab a puzzle and stick it in my bag. So I must get some cube bags handy so I can just throw them in. That'd be a good idea. Note to self, do that from now on, as long as the puzzle fits in them, of course. A lot of the bigger puzzles don't, which is a shame. I wish they'd make some bigger ones that we could use. But yeah, this is definitely a lot of fun. You've got to find a new way of solving this compared to the Evil Eye 1, the closed eye version, or at least you have to if you do it anything like I do, the solving wise of this and the cross cube, etc. I've heard of other people doing different methods, so I don't know whether it's the same applies to those methods. The eyes themselves, I didn't try very hard or anything, but I couldn't find an algorithm just to move those around and nothing else. So you have to work around those. You have to work around that while solving the puzzle. So I'm trying not to give away any spoilers. But yeah, it's definitely a fun puzzle. I enjoyed solving this a lot, and it was very satisfying when I finally figured out what I needed to do to get it finished off. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed this one, and definitely recommend it. It's not an expensive puzzle. I think I paid $16 for this, if I remember right, from cubeszz.com. So yeah, it's certainly not an expensive puzzle, and it's definitely well worth adding to your collection. Both of these are, and they look pretty impressive, and despite their lack of quality, you know, as I said, they are very cheap, so that's not necessarily that surprising, and it's a very fun addition to the collection. Alright then guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. I will see you next time.